Hello again. So happy you could join us. We're reading from the Complete Jewish Bible, which is a translation of the Hebrew Bible. Deuteronomy chapter 6, verses 4 through 9. Shema. Hear, Israel, Adonai our God, Adonai is one. And you're to love Adonai your God with all your heart, all your being, and all your resources. These words, which I am ordering you today, are to be in your heart, and you're to teach them carefully to your children. You're to talk about them when you sit at home, when you're traveling on the road, when you lie down, and when you get up. Tie them on your hand as a sign. Put them at the front of a headband around your forehead, and write them on the doorframes of your house and on your gates. Matthew chapter 6, verses 9 through 14, the Lord's Prayer. Our Father in heaven, may your name be kept holy. May your kingdom come. Your will be done on earth as in heaven. Give us the food we need today. Forgive us what we have done wrong, as we too have forgiven those who have wronged us. And do not lead us into hard testing, but keep us safe from the evil one. For kingship, power, and glory are yours forever. We are on Exodus chapter 23. You're not to repeat false rumors. Do not join hands with the wicked by offering purged testimony. Do not follow the crowd when it does what is wrong. And do not allow the popular view to sway you into offering testimony for any cause if the effect will be to pervert justice. On the other hand, do not favor a person's lawsuit simply because he is poor. If you come upon your enemy's ox or donkey straying, you must return it to him. If you see the donkey which belongs to someone who hates you lying down helpless under its load, you're not to pass him by, but to go and help him free it. Do not deny anyone justice in this lawsuit simply because he is poor. Keep away from fraud, and do not cause the death of the innocent and righteous. For I will not justify the wicked. You are not to receive a bribe, for a bribe blinds the clear-sighted and subverts the cause of righteous. You are not to oppress a foreigner, for you know how a foreigner feels, since you were foreigners in the land of Egypt. For 6 years you are to sow your land with seed and gather in its harvest. But the 7th year you're to let it rest and lie fallow, so that the poor among your people can eat, and what they leave the wild animals in the countryside can eat. Do the same with your vineyard and olive groves. For 6 days you're to work, but on the 7th day you're to rest, so that your ox and donkey can rest, and your slave girl's son and the foreigner be renewed. Pay attention to everything I have said to you. Do not invoke the names of other gods, or even let them be heard crossing your lips. 3 times a year you're to observe a festival for me. Keep the festival of matzah for 7 days, as I ordered you. You're to eat matzah at the time determined in the month of Aviv, for it was in that month that you left Egypt. No one is to appear before me empty-handed. Next, the festival of harvest, the first fruits of your efforts sowing in the field, and the last, the festival of ingathering at the end of the year, when you gather in from the fields the results of your efforts. 3 times a year, all your men are to appear before the Lord Adonai. You are not to offer the blood of my sacrifice with leavened bread, nor is the fat of my festival to remain all night until morning. You are to bring the best first fruits of your land into the house of Adonai your God. You are not to boil a young animal in its mother's milk. I am sending an angel ahead of you to guard you on the way and bring you to a place I have prepared. Pay attention to him, listen to what he says, and do not rebel against him, because he will not forgive any wrongdoing of yours, since my name resides in him. But if you listen to what he says and do everything I tell you, I will be an enemy to your enemies and a foe to your foes. When my angel goes ahead of you and brings you to the Amorite, Hittite, Perizzites, Canaanites, Hivites, and Jebusites, I will make an end of them. You are not to worship their gods, serve them, or follow their practices. Rather, you are to demolish them completely and smash their standing stones to pieces. You are to serve Adonai your God, and he will bless your food and water. I will take sickness away from among you. In your land your women will not miscarry or be barren, and you will live out the full span of your lives. I will send terror of me ahead of you, throwing into confusion all the people to whom you come, and I will make all your enemies turn their backs on you. I will send hornets ahead of you to drive out the Hivites, Canaanites, and Hittites from before you. I will not drive out from before you in 1 year, which would cause the land to become desolate and the wild animals too many for you. I will drive them out from before you gradually until you have grown in number and can take possession of the land. I will set your boundaries from the Sea of Suf to the Sea of the Philistine, and from the desert to the Euphrates River. For I will hand the inhabitants of the land over to you, and you will drive them out from before you. You are not to make a covenant with them or with their gods. They are not to live in your lands. Otherwise they will make you sin against me by ensnaring you to serve their gods. 1 Samuel chapter 28. In due time, the Philistines assembled their armies for war against Israel. Achish told David, "You know, of course, that you and your men will join me and the army in battle." David answered Achish, "I see that you already know what your servant will do." Achish said to David, "For that answer I am making you my personal bodyguard for life." Now Shemuel was dead. All Israel had mourned him and buried him in his city, in the city Hamah. Also Shaul expelled from the land those who tell the future by communicating with the dead or with demonic spirits. The Philistines assembled. Then they went and pitched camp at Shunem, while Shaul gathered all Israel together and pitched camp at Gilboa. When Shaul saw the army of the Philistines, he became afraid. It struck terror in his heart. But when he consulted Adonai, Adonai did not answer him, not by dreams, not by Urim, and not by prophets. Then Shaul said to his servants, "Try to find a woman who tells the future by communicating with the dead. I want to go and consult with her." His servants answered him, "Yes, there's a woman in Ain Dor who tells the future by communicating with the dead." So Shaul disguised himself by wearing different clothes, went with 2 men, came to the woman by night and said, "Tell me the future, please. Bring up from the dead the person I named to you." The woman answered, "Here, you know what Shaul did, how he expelled from the land those who tell the future by communicating with the dead or with a demonic spirit. Why are you trying to entrap me into causing my own death?" But Shaul swore to her by Adonai, "As Adonai lives, you will not be punished for doing this." Then the woman asked, "Whom should I bring up for you?" "Bring up for me Shemuel." When the woman saw Shemuel, she let out a shriek. Then the woman said to Shaul, "Why have you deceived me? You yourself are Shaul." The king replied, "Do not be afraid. Just tell me what you see." The woman said to Shaul, "I see a god-like being coming up out of the earth." He asked her, "What does he look like?" "An old man is coming up. He's wearing a cloak." Shaul realized it was Shemuel, so he bowed his face to the ground and prostrated himself. Shemuel asked Shaul, "Why have you disturbed me and brought me up? Shaul answered, I am very upset because the Philistines are making war against me, and God has left me and does not answer me anymore, neither by prophets nor by dreams. This is why I have called you, so that you can let me know what to do. Shemuel said, Why ask me? If Adonai has left you and become your enemy, Adonai has done for himself what he foretold through me. Adonai has torn the kingdom out of your hands and given it to your fellow countryman David, because you did not obey what Adonai said and execute his furious anger toward Amalek. That's why Adonai is doing this to you today. Adonai is giving Israel, as well as yourself, over into the power of the Philistine, and tomorrow you and your sons will be with me. Adonai will hand over Israel's army to the power of the Philistine. Shaul immediately fell full length on the ground and became terribly frightened because of what Shemuel said. He had no strength left in him, for he had eaten nothing all that day and night. The woman approached Shaul, saw that he was panic-stricken, and said to him, Here your servant listened to what you said. I put my life in my hands and did what you requested me to do. Therefore, please, you listen to what your servant says. Let me put a little food in front of you, then eat, so you will have some strength when you go on your way. But he refused and said, I won't eat. Then his servants together with the woman urged him, and he heeded what they said. He got up off the ground and sat on the bed. The woman had a fattened calf in the house. She hurried to slaughter it. Then she took flour, kneaded it, and baked matzah with it. She served it to Shaul and his servants, and they ate. Afterwards, they got up and they went away that night. Psalms chapter 73. A Psalm of Asaph. How good God is to Israel, to those who are pure in heart. But as for me, I lost my balance. My feet nearly slipped when I grew envious of the arrogant and saw how the wicked prosper. For when their deaths come, it is painless, and meanwhile their bodies are healthy. They do not have ordinary people's troubles. They are not plagued like others. So for them, pride is a necklace, and violence clothes them like a robe. Their eyes peep out through folds of fat. Evil thoughts overflow from their hearts. They scoff and speak with malice. They loftily utter threats. They set their mouths against heaven. Their tongues swagger through the earth. Therefore his people return here and thoughtlessly suck up the whole cup of water. Then they ask, how does God know? Does the Most High really have knowledge? Yes, this is what the wicked are like. Those free of misfortune keep increasing their wealth. It is all for nothing that I've kept my heart clean and washed my hands, staying free of guilt. For all day long I am plagued. My punishment comes every morning. If I had said, I will talk like them, I would have betrayed a generation of your children. When I tried to understand all this, I found it too hard for me until I went into the sanctuaries of God and grasped what their destiny would be. Indeed, you place them on a slippery slope and make them fall to their ruin. How suddenly they are destroyed, swept away by terrors. They are like a dream when one awakens, Adonai. When you rouse yourself, you will despise their phantoms. When I had a sour attitude and felt stung by pained emotions, I was too stupid to understand. I was like a brute beast with you. Nevertheless, I am always with you. You hold my right hand. You will guide me with your advice, and afterwards you will receive me with honor. Whom do I have in heaven but you? And with you I lack nothing on earth. My mind and body may fail, but God is the rock for my mind and my portion forever. Those who are far from you will perish and destroy all. You destroy all who adulterously leave you. But for me, the nearness of God is my good. I have made Adonai Elohim my refuge, so that I can tell of all your works. Amen. And John chapter 5. After this, there was a Judean festival, and Joshua went up to Jerusalem. In Jerusalem, by the sheep gate, is a pool called Aramaic, Bethsata, surrounded by 5 porches, in which lay a crowd of invalids, blind, lame, crippled. One man was there who had been ill for 38 years. Joshua, seeing this man and knowing that he had been there a long time, said to him, "Do you want to be healed?" The sick man answered, "I have no one to put me in the pool when the water is disturbed, and while I am trying to get there, someone goes in ahead of me." Joshua said to him, "Get up, pick up your mat and walk." Immediately the man was healed, and he picked up his mat and walked. Now that day was Shabbat, so the Judeans said to the man who had been healed, "It is Shabbat. It is against Torah for you to carry your mat." But he answered them, "The man who healed me, he's the one who told me, 'Pick up your mat and walk.'" They asked him, "Who is this man who told you to pick it up and walk?" But the man who had been healed did not know who it was, because Joshua had slipped away into the crowd. Afterwards, Joshua found him in the temple court, and said to him, "See, you are well. Now stop sinning, or something worse may happen to you." The man went off and told the Judeans it was Joshua who had healed him. And on account of this, the Judeans began harassing Joshua because he did these things on Shabbat. But he answered them, "My father has been working until now, and I too am working." This answer made the Judeans all the more intent on killing him. Not only was he breaking Shabbat, but also by saying that God was his own father, he was claiming equality with God. Therefore Joshua said this to them, "Yes, indeed, I tell you that the Son cannot do anything on his own, but only what he sees the Father doing. Whatever the Father does, the Son does as well. For the Father loves the Son and shows him everything he does, and he will show him even greater things than these, so that you will be amazed. Just as the Father raises the dead and makes them alive, so too the Son makes alive anyone he wants. The Father does not judge anyone, but has entrusted all judgment to the Son, so that all may honor the Son as they honor the Father. Whoever fails to honor the Son is not honoring the Father who sent him. Yes, indeed, I tell you that whoever hears what I am saying and trusts the one who sent me has eternal life. That is, he will not come up for judgment, but has already crossed over from death to life. Yes, indeed, I tell you that there is coming a time, in fact, it's already here, when the dead will hear the voice of the Son of God, and those who listen will come to life. For just as the Father has life in himself, so he has given the Son life to have in himself. Also, he has given him authority to execute judgment, because he is the Son of Man. Do not be surprised at this, because the time is coming when all who are in the grave will hear his voice. When all who are in the grave will hear his voice and come out. Those who have done good to a resurrection of life, and those who have done evil to a resurrection of judgment. I cannot do a thing on my own. As I hear, I judge, and my judgment is right, because I do not seek my own desire, but the desire of the one who sent me. If I testify on my own behalf, my testimony is not valid, but there is someone else testifying on my behalf, and I know that the testimony he is making is valid. You have sent to Jochanan, and he has testified the truth. Not that I collect human testimony, rather I say these things so that you may be saved. He was a lamp burning and shining, and for a little while you were willing to bask in his light. But I have a testimony that is greater than Yochanan's, for the things the Father has given me to do, the very things I am doing now, testify on my behalf that the Father has sent me. In addition, the Father who sent me has himself testified on my behalf, but you have never heard his voice or seen his shape. Moreover, his word does not stay in you, because you do not trust the one he sent. For you keep examining the Tanakh, because you think that in it you have eternal life. Those very scriptures bear witness to me, but you will not come to me in order to have life. I do not collect praise from men, but I do know you people. I know that you have no love for God in you. I have come in my Father's name, and you do not accept me. If someone else comes in his own name, him you will accept. How can you trust? You're busy collecting praise from each other instead of seeking praise from God only. But do not think that it is I who will be your accuser before the Father. Do you know who will accuse you? Moshe, the very one you have counted on. For if you really believed Moshe, you would have believed me, because it was about me that he wrote. But if you do not believe what he wrote, how are you going to believe what I say? Numbers chapter 6, verses 24 through 26, the Aaronic blessing. May Adonai bless you and keep you. May Adonai make his face shine upon you and show you his favor. May Adonai lift his countenance toward you and give you his shalom. Thank you again for joining us. Until next time, shalom.